Hello everyone, 76 Patriot here, and today I'm going to be going over my presidential prediction. So without further ado, I'm just going to start off by filling out the safe Democrat states, and we'll get those out of the way. On the West Coast, of course, we got Hawaii, and we're just going to fill out all these northeastern states here, just like so. Now, I think in some of these states, Trump will see an increase in his percentage, in his margins rather, from the past several elections, and that might be it. Well, actually, no, put Colorado. But, I think they're all going to be safe at the end of the day. Even New York, there was a poll that came out even several days ago. I can just pull that up right now. Yeah, Biden +7, +6. I don't know if that's going to materialize at the end of the day. So, but I could see New York as going likely. And that would take, be a Republican landslide, I think, to get New York to a likely margin, but we'll see. Of course, we have Maine's first congressional district, and I believe that's it for the safe Democrat states. Now to the safe Republican states. We're going to fill out, of course, all the Mountain West here. Nothing really too interesting on these states going on here. Just fill these out like so. I think Alaska will be safe this time. Iowa and Ohio, I mean, Trump won them by over 8 points in both past elections. I think with trends that we're seeing on voter registration and just other demographic trends, I think they'll be both. Trump will get them both by a safe margin. So, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. This is all going to be safe Republican states. Now, here we are to the truly the interesting part of this map. And we're down to our competitive states. Let's fill out our likely Democratic states first. There's only actually a couple of them. So we got New Mexico, which I think is going to get down into single digits. If we look back in 2020, we'll see that Biden won it by just over 10. I think with trends, New Mexico is an interesting one to watch. I mean, if Trump had a landslide and Republicans had a really good night, it could get into a lean Democratic margin. But I mean, it would, just there's so many college-educated people in the cities there, even with a high Hispanic population, that it would be hard for Republicans to actually pick it off. But we'll see. And the other state is New Hampshire. Again, it would be interesting to see how independents and RFK and I meant third parties do in New Hampshire this election. But I think it'll go to Biden by a likely margin. It could be lean at the end of the day. Trump barely lost it to Clinton by a squeaker in 2016. Went to Biden by a stronger margin, but we'll see what happens. For now, I think it's likely. So let's go to the likely Republican states and start off with the great state of Florida. Florida, I think, is one. I mean, the state has truly been terraformed. It has absolutely been. I mean, look at the governor's elections and Senate elections 2 years ago. Democrats got blown out of the water by 20 points in Miami-Dade, of all places, too. I mean, I think, Trump's it was close in 2016. Went up. I could see Trump winning this by, honestly, up to 8. I mean, we'll see. But right now, I'd put it around, my money's on, I don't know, 7 to 8 points. Yeah, let's say 8. Oh, and I totally forgot to fill out DC. So before I forget that, there we go. That feels better. Okay. Only other likely Republican state I have on here is Texas. This is a state that was unexpectedly close for a lot of people in 2020. We'll see Trump plus, 5.6. And this is a state historically incredibly strong support for Republicans. However, some of these large metro counties have seen, let's go back here, increased Democratic support. Trending far, kind of off a cliff to the left. However, I think that Hispanic turnout, Hispanic shifts to the right, as we've seen. Yeah, look at that. 2016, 4 years later. I think some of these smaller counties will flip Republican to this election. So that's really helped to stem and counteract a lot of the growth in these large metro areas. Plus, I think a lot of it will be Biden will have dampened enthusiasm in those areas. So Trump plus 8, maybe right now, 7, maybe 7. I think that's it for the likely Republican states. Let's go get the lean Democratic states out of the way. Actually, wait. I forgot Maine. Yeah, Maine will be safe. Maine's district. Can't believe I forgot that. And I believe in Nebraska. Oh my gosh, I forgot quite a few things. Okay, there we go. Lean Democratic states. First, let's actually start off with Minnesota. This is a state that is really genuinely interesting. I could see Trump doing really well, again, if it's a great night for Republicans, and if there's very high third party turnout, which historically benefits Republicans by a lot in Minnesota. So we'll see if it's like a landslide. It doesn't have to be a landslide. It just has to have really high third party turnout, and that is taking away votes from Biden and dampen enthusiasm for Biden, particularly in the Muslim communities. We'll see what happens with that. Another state, kind of like New Hampshire, that in 2016, barely went for Clinton. Barely. And then, look at that. Twin Cities, just blew the margins out for Biden. So Minnesota is one I could see I could see it as a potential sleeper flip, or at least a tilt Democratic, but we'll see. Now getting down to Virginia, the other lean Democratic state. This might be controversial. I know a lot of people have this characterized as likely. I've seen some safe. I personally think it's going to be lean. If we look, for example, there's a recent poll, and pull it up on Real Clear here. Recent poll out of Virginia just the other day shows it's tied. Biden and Trump are tied. That's without third-party candidates. With third-party candidates, Biden's up 2. And there's been a number of other polls that we've seen out of Virginia that show Biden under 4 points. And that is saying something, because that means Biden has truly collapsed in Virginia. Look, he won it by 10. So basically, in order for Trump to cut down those margins, he needed to do much better in Nova and really get that turnout down, cut some of those massive, 40 points. He needs to cut these down in half to even have a chance of getting close. Really, again, same story here on the coast. Just squeeze the blood out of these rural counties. Get some of these counties up in the 80s and higher, and then he might have a shot. So we'll see what happens. Might be a bit bold of me to do this, but I'm putting it as lean for now. So now we go, I almost forgot, Nebraska's second. Okay, and that's totally the wrong one I just clicked. Okay, there we go. Nebraska's second is basically this swingy district that it's interesting because Omaha has trended left off a cliff. However, with demographics, if Trump's doing very well with independents, it could be closer than it was in 2020. There was a poll not too long ago that showed Trump actually up by, I believe it was a couple points. I don't know about that. For now, I'll leave it as lean Democrat, but we'll see what happens. So now we're getting into, oh gosh, there's one more lean Democrat. This is an embarrassing first video for the channel. Maine's at large is going to be lean Democrat, partially because could be tilt. I don't know. It was very close in 2016. Clinton won it by a couple points. Biden won it by, I believe, 7 points in 2020. I don't know. That Maine is an interesting state, and I personally right now I think it's going to be in between, I think, those margins. Although I think Trump will lose it by about maybe 4 to 5. I don't know. Lean might be a bit bold, but I'll leave it as that for now. And that is it for we got actually one more lean characterization for the Republican side. We only got one. It's the state of North Carolina. This is the state that, again, another fascinating state to kind of look into trends that are going on. So, Trump won it by over 3 in 2016. Big decrease. And I kind of heard, you can just do the math too, but people saying, if Trump loses it by as much as decreased, his margin from 2016 to 2020, if that decreases again, Biden will win the state. that, I mean, I'm just going to come out and say on a limb, that's not happening. I mean, we've seen Trump doing great in the rural areas, in the exurban areas, and if he can just keep this turnout to a minimum in some of these metro areas, he's good. I think some of these rurals will come in even stronger for him, especially turnout in um, this whole region here, this kind of black belt region. And we can see even right there, a little bit of change, especially in the recent Senate election here, big trends to the right in these rural counties. So I predict North Carolina will go to Trump pretty similar to his 2016 margin, probably about 3, maybe 4 points, probably about 3.5. So moving on to the tilt states, this is a real battleground right here. This will determine who will be sitting in the White House in 2025. So we'll start off with the state of Georgia, arguably the friendliest state to Trump. And I'm just going to go ahead and just characterize it as tilt, because if we look at demographics, this is the state that Trump won. Well, actually, let's go back a bit further. Yeah, McCain, well, it's going a bit far back, but Bush 16, McCain won it by 5, bumped up a bit for Romney, plus 5 for Trump, and then there. And if you actually look at what's going on, watch Atlanta, those counties. Bluer and blue, there we go, and there we go. Big blue blob right there. And that I don't think is going to happen this year. I think it's really reached its max turnout in Atlanta, particularly black turnout. I think I cannot conceivably see it going any higher this year in 2020 than it was in 2020. I mean, particularly with Biden's collapsing support among black voters, among independents, among the people that really came out and swung the state to the left in 2020. I just don't see that happening. And this is going to be interesting. I honestly could characterize it as lean, probably. I know some people have, some pundits and people in the elections community have classified it as lean. I'm going to leave it as tilt for now. Moving on to Arizona. This is a state that I believe was Trump's second best. I mean, of the ones that he lost. I'm sorry, Biden's second worst of the swing states that he won. If that makes sense. So he barely won it by, just a matter of thousands of votes. And this is a state, again, similar to Georgia, where trends have not been looking up for the Republican Party, at least on the federal level. And yeah, just look at that. Yeah, Maricopa going blue. That was kind of the death knell in 2020. That's what cost. That's what's been costing all these Senate races there, the presidential race. Can Maricopa go red again? Because it honestly, Trump could win the state theoretically and narrowly lose Maricopa. And I don't know if that's going to happen. Arizona is a state I really could see either party winning, even with Trump doing great with Hispanics and massively improving his margins among the Hispanic community. Even with independents, Trump's doing better. Even with all those things, the economy, everything seeming to go in Trump's favor. This is still a state I could see going either way. Right now, we'll keep it as tilt, just because of Trump doing so well with Hispanics. But when I look at Arizona and Georgia, I see two very different stories. Because Georgia, I feel like Atlanta's kind of reached its peak as far as turnout. And there's only there's a low floor for Democrats. Arizona, I feel like if Phoenix keeps growing, that could be unlimited. It could become a Colorado at some point. Now, I think it would take decades to do that, but it's possible. But I just have it as tilt Republican for now. Moving on to Nevada, I'm just going to hurry up a bit here so I don't drag this on too long. I'll just get that out of the way. Characterize it as tilt. This is a state where it has been slowly trending to the right. Yeah, Obama won it. Yeah, big margin, 12. Then 6. Yeah, and then ever since then, the last 2 elections was exactly the same margin, even when the national environment trended to the left by multiple points in 2020. It actually trended to the right. And that is one of the few states in 2020 to do that. And that is a good sign for Republicans, in my opinion. Clark County, that's where all the action's happening. If Republicans lose it by 5, let me do the math on that, actually. I don't want to steer any of y'all wrong. Basically, it's if a Republican cuts that margin down even further, yeah, you can still lose Washoe. You can lose both and win. That's what Joe Lombardo did in his gubernatorial race and narrowly won. But rurals have to be churning out for the Republican. I think Trump can do it. I mean, working class voters, Hispanics, Trump's killing it with those demographics. So I think Trump will narrowly pick it off, in my opinion. Moving to the Rust Belt, Wisconsin is a state typically of the trio, the big, blue wall up here, Rust Belt states. Wisconsin's typically the most favorable to Republicans. There is a scenario, and I've heard some pundits and people talking about this, in which Wisconsin is, Michigan actually votes to the right of Wisconsin. I don't know about that, but particularly because of, the high uncommitted vote in Michigan and Muslim members of the Muslim community kind of turning their back on Biden this time. I don't know about that. I'm going to characterize it as tilt Trump for now. But in order to win it, it was still the most favorable to Trump out of these three by a good margin. And if you have to bleed the rurals out. I mean, these suckers literally have to be, look at that, drop off they have to be blood red. And then, Dane County, Milwaukee, obviously, you want Democratic turnout to be as low as possible. So this is a state I don't think it'll be that hard for Trump to pick off. I mean, Ron Johnson narrowly won a Senate race. Republicans can still win, even when they didn't in these other states in 2022. Moving on to Michigan, typically the bluest of the three historically. This is a state that we saw a massive uncommitted vote on the Democratic primary. So many members of the Muslim community coming out and in support against Biden, and that could definitely do him in this time. Because if you look back, he won it by 2.8. And basically, in order for a Trump victory, you'd need it to basically replicate something close to his 2016 margin. And because I believe he won it by, I don't remember the margin. It was like 11,000. I don't know why this site doesn't put vote margins on it. But basically, he would need it to look something like that. Turnout has to be lower in the suburban areas, and the rurals have to be maxed out. Right now, I think that can be done, just due to Biden's collapsing support and just failing support among his base and independents, and the voters that gave him the state in 2020. So I'll characterize that as tilt Republican. The last one is Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. This state right here is, and now, Trump would have already won. I mean, he would have won even if Michigan was not, he would have already won with just the the Sun Belt and Wisconsin. But let's just, for the sake of it, we have to fill out the whole map. So Pennsylvania is a state. Democrats have been on a recent winning streak, be it in the Supreme Court justice races or the Senate race, where Democrats won by 5 points, mainly due to SEPA, southeastern PA, Montgomery County, Chester County, these counties right here. Look at that. This is a state that you want turnout here to be a minimum. You do not want to replicate 2020 if you're Trump, obviously, down in this part of the state. You want to keep the margin in Allegheny to a reasonably competitive. I mean, you don't want it to be, a crazy blowout for Democrats. I think Trump will win Erie. It's based on trends. Northampton might be close as well. But that's really it. And you got to max out the rurals. That's your key to winning Pennsylvania. And much of it lies in this whole region right here, not getting absolutely crushed by Democrats, in this case Biden. I think Trump can do that. Um, again, Biden is just doing so badly with so many demographics, be it independents, even young voters. And they were so crucial, young voters, particularly in the Philly area and that whole region, in delivering the state to Biden 4 years ago. So I think Trump's going to do that this time around. Now, we're all done, but it looks a bit weird to have every single swing state is Republican. I think Trump's doing so well. That's a fair assessment, in my opinion. Um, Maybe I should have made one of these states Democratic just so this doesn't age, so this ages well. Maybe Arizona is honestly the one state I could see going Democratic. At this rate, though, Trump is just doing so well, be it in the polls, be it fundraising, be it with registration in general for Republicans across all these swing states. This, in my opinion, is a reasonable prediction, I think, even if not every state's margin is spot on. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.